Pretty Girl Club. Welcome back to the Exotical Storytime series. If you have a story you would like to share in front of the Exoticals United audience, please email me at exoticalsunited@gmail.com. This story time is about an exotical who was living in Philly. So let's get into it. She says, "First off, I want to thank you for creating a safe space for us to express our experiences being mixed. A lot of the things you speak about are situations I've experienced in my personal life since I was a child, and I won't lie, it was starting to take a toll on me. However, I'm a very nonchalant, resilient person in general, so I tend to brush things off once the dust settles. I found your channel while being bored at work and actively being ignored by my coworkers, the usual humbling tactics, though I prefer it that way. My coworkers are women I wouldn't mingle with outside of work anyway, and I'm sure they know that. It's just refreshing to know that it's not me, nothing is wrong with me, and I'm not crazy. Ever since I was a child, other children would go out of their way to exclude me, yet also be around me, if that makes sense. Growing up, I've witnessed other girls get praise over me who were unattractive or average at best. Boys I've dated weren't on anyone's radar until I dated them first. Anyone who hates or dislikes me loved me at first, or vice versa. It's hard for me to keep jobs longer than a year due to people mistreating me at work, smiling in my face and then setting me up to be fired or making me uncomfortable to the point where I just leave. Unambiguous black women treat me the worst, which is why I gave up customer service jobs due to their verbal and attempted physical abuse. Dating for me is easy but hard at the same time. I attract men of every ethnicity and race, so I have my pick of the litter. I've only had serious relationships with attractive men, and I quickly learned that they wanted to be with me for specific reasons, my looks. At the same time, they, in time too, would attempt to humble me by spewing insults to make me question my own value and beauty. To this day, I struggle with body dysmorphia low-key due to all the trauma, but now that more of us are speaking out about the BS society tries to pull on mixed people, I've become even more confident in myself and aware that my beauty is triggering, and I will always have people trying to tear me down. All of these things have resulted into me being a loner, and I prefer it that way. I do have my own family, my children who are my support system, and my best friends. Though I fear for them in the future because they all look just like me and have already experienced the BS in school because of the way they look. I gave up on relationships when I dated an unambiguous black man last summer. He was the first black man to show hatred towards me, yet wanted to show me off every chance he got. I would simply be minding my business, doing my homework, or watching GOT, and he would insult me for absolutely no reason. And I knew he was doing it for attention because the insults didn't make sense. He was intentionally trying to find something wrong with me because he knew deep down I was fascinating to look at. He would also speak down on his own race a lot, specifically black women, and tell me how I'll never understand how hard life is for him as a black man. Almost as if I should feel guilty. My husband, separated, would pull his shit on me too. He's Puerto Rican and always tried to make me feel bad about not being black enough or caring about black issues. I explained to him that I couldn't relate to the typical black experience because I'm not your typical black woman. I am mixed and come from a family that has been mixed for generations. Also, the black community has not been the kindest to me, accepting, etc. My most recent encounter with the BS, besides work, was at my summer job. The manager loved me, until everyone else did. Then he saw me as competition because I excelled quickly. I was working in sales, and my looks helped a lot, along with my personality. One night, he ended up randomly trying to embarrass me in front of customers, insulting me and comparing me to his average at best unambiguous black girlfriend. He was so upset that I wouldn't feed his ego and accept his false perceptions of me or his girlfriend. I remember when I was 17, my unambiguous black boyfriend invited me to a cookout in North Philly. I didn't know anyone there because it was her friend's family. I stayed quiet and an older black woman there offered to fix me a plate. The rest of the time was what it was, but when we got home, my boyfriend's friend called her and she put her on speaker so I could hear. She said, and I quote, "What was the issue with your friend, the light-skinned girl? She had my auntie getting her food like she's too good to get her own food. I'm glad y'all left early because me and my cousins were going to jump her. It was at that moment I realized, though my beauty is a blessing and affords me many privileges, it also attracts negative, envious people towards me who would attempt to harm me without a second thought. Anyway, thanks for being you and creating a safe space for us. I appreciate all that you do and will continue to make my way through all your content. Stay beautiful. Yeah, I'm not surprised at any of this, especially going to a cookout in North Philly and then you're almost about to get jumped. One thing that I try to tell you guys is that if you are a pretty girl, pretty girls need to be wealthy and they need to stay in like wealthy spaces. No shade if you are, no shade towards people from North Philly. But I have noticed that if you're a pretty girl and you're in the hood or you're around a lot of women in survival mode, that is a very dangerous space for a pretty girl because a lot of these like bum, dusty women, they have nothing to lose. So that's why we've got a lot of story times of exoticals getting their face slashed or getting like maced. I remember that story time that one girl submitted. She said that somebody maced her car. Like while she was in her car, they tried to mace her. So a lot of women like that, they have nothing to lose. And sometimes they actually will set you up. You guys have also seen the story times on here about girls being set up to be SA'd or their friends dating the men who SA'd them. So it's like a form of psychological abuse. And then when this girl said that she was working a job and that her coworkers were ignoring her because it's almost as if her coworkers could tell that she wouldn't mingle with them outside of work. How many of you guys have experienced that? I know I've experienced that too. In fact, I've worked at some jobs where some people will ask me, what are you doing here? Like, why are you working here? So I think that sometimes as exoticals, people perceive us as being too good to work in these quote unquote basic 9 to 5 jobs. And so I think that's why sometimes people treat us badly. It's because they know that we have a reputation for leveling up. And you guys saw the content. I mean, I believe that exoticals, a lot of us are the standard of beauty, the standard for dating, and also the standard of living. So I think that if you are an exotical, you are some people's standard of living. So if you're working at the same place as a bunch of leveled down women, they know that eventually you're going to leave. They know that eventually you are inevitably going to get promoted or you're going to have some guy come take care of you or something. So it's almost like they stereotype you and they try to sabotage you before you get the chance to level up. So that's why some of those women will try to like set you up to be fired because they feel like you can handle it. You can take it. You can handle being fired. You can handle having no income. So it's like they have no empathy for you because they see you as being more privileged. But do you have a story time similar to this? Have you ever gone to a cookout and then you find out that you were about to get jumped? Have you ever had an unambiguous black male boyfriend who has negged you or said negative things about you? Let me know what you think in the comment section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.